Yeah, it's your boy Crypto Blood, and welcome to another episode of My 2 Cents. This morning, we're taking a look at something that I actually covered over the weekend in a live stream, Off the Chain, episode number 17. It was about 2.5 hours, almost 2.5 hours long, so I know many of you probably didn't catch it, or at least catch all of it. And I wanted to definitely highlight this situation going on with Apple. You know, the one that's offshoring billions of dollars of their profits and not paying a single dime in taxes. They're not alone. Amazon is doing it. You know, Microsoft, all the big guys are doing this. But what I'm going to talk to you guys about this morning is, in particular, what's going on with the privacy. Now, we all know, I'm sure, that we almost have no privacy nowadays. But one would think if you turned off a setting that the company would respect that. But unfortunately, that is not the case. Apple made a huge mistake leaking millions of users' locations. Even when you turn the GPS settings off, they were still tracking you and reporting that information. So I'm going to just highlight this for you guys this morning. And also, if you guys use Google Maps, I want to show you a feature that you should at least know about. If you want to turn it off, keep it on, it's up to you. But you should at least know that Google is also tracking you, probably unbeknownst to you. But before we start, if you guys find these types of videos informative, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and click that bell to receive more videos like this. So before we get started, I do want to again tell you guys about this feature in Google Maps, where they're basically tracking your every move all day, every day. And it's supposed to be under the guise of helping you remember where you went during the day, so you can backtrack and know exactly what's going on. You know, this is all for the benefit and convenience for you. But in reality, they're using this data, and it's valuable data, because they're cross-aggregating this data, this geo meta data, with other behaviors that they're tracking, what you're searching for, and what's in your email account. So all of these things. But again, if you didn't know about this, I'm letting you know how to change the setting, let you know what is going on, how they're tracking you, and secondly, change the setting if you would like to. And this goes for anyone using an iPhone, an Android phone for sure. If you have Google Maps installed on your Apple iPhone, it will also be tracking this as well. So this is out of CNBC. I first found out about this feature maybe about 1.5 years or 2 ago, and was like, wow, this is crazy. Never knew this was enabled. And really, my whole thing is about them just exploiting our data and using it to make money off of it. That's my main thing. This is valuable data, as I stated, and you know, you opt into these things. Anytime there's a new update to terms of service, no one has the time to take a look at that. You know, you just hit accept and keep moving on with your life. So out of CNBC again, Google Maps tracks everywhere you go. Here's how to automatically delete what it stores. It says Google Maps tracks everywhere you go. There's a tool. It's really more so a setting in Google Maps that will allow you to delete your location data from Google servers after a preset amount of time. This prevents Google from automatically logging years of your location data on its servers. And I'm going to show you where you can find this. This will go back as long as you've had a Google account as well. Okay, so you're going to be very shocked if you're not aware of this hidden feature. So it says if you don't configure Google Maps properly, it will automatically keep a detailed log of everywhere you go, whether you're walking, driving, or even flying anywhere in the world. It's wildly detailed down to the minute it is, and can show you where you were at a moment in time. And that information can be helpful for you for sure. You might want to look back and see where you were during the trip, for example, or you might want to Google to know how long it typically takes to drive somewhere you often go. Still, it's kind of creepy to have years and years of your data stored on Google's servers. And so over the summer, Google began rolling out a feature that lets you automatically delete your saved location data either every 18 months or every 3 months. Anything older than that is automatically deleted, so Google won't know about those stops you made in Las Vegas last year. That's funny. Oddly, it's not where Google normally puts their setting on Google account page. Yeah, exactly. Instead, it is embedded deep within the Google Maps area. Here's what you have to do, guys. And so again, you open up your Google Maps, iPhone or Android, tap the menu bar on the top left app, choose your timeline, and then tap the 3 dots on the top right of the screen. Then choose settings and privacy, and then select automatically delete location history. Change the setting from keep until I delete manually to keep for 18 months or keep for 3 months. It is recommended that you guys pick delete every 3 months. There isn't much reason to hold onto your history for much longer than that, though you can select 18 months if you disagree. So again, that's a quick tidbit for you guys. And as you can see, you can't tell them not to keep your information at all. So it's going to be kept on their servers for a minimum of 3 months. So they're going to be able to still make a ton of money off of that aggregated data that you're providing them. So it's just crazy. It really is crazy. So at least you can take some privacy back from that feature. But I wanted to just drop that on you guys. In addition to that, I wanted to highlight another tidbit. 1 billion surveillance cameras will be watching around the world by 2021. A new study says, and unsurprisingly, more than half of those cameras will be in China. The report comes as experts warn about the potential risks of such surveillance technology, including potential access to data by the Chinese government. The Americas are next in line, accounting for about 18% of all installed surveillance cameras, and Asia, excluding China, account for another 15%, the report says. There are an estimated 770 million surveillance cameras installed around the world today, and 54% of those cameras are in China, according to a pared down version of the report that CNBC has seen and that is set to be made widely available next week. China is home to some of the world's largest makers of video surveillance companies, Huawei and Dahao, and also one other one, Megvii. If you guys aren't familiar with that one, they're getting ready to do an IPO very soon as well in Hong Kong. But China's push to export surveillance camera technology, including the liberal democracies, has raised concern over the risk of data being funneled back into Beijing and the growing influence of the Communist Party. China has built a vast surveillance state that utilizes cameras powered by facial recognition software, including cameras perched on streets, buildings, and lampposts that can recognize and identify individual faces. Chinese tech companies supply artificial intelligence surveillance technology to 63 countries. Of those, 36 have signed on to China's massive infrastructure project called the Belt and Road Initiative, according to a September report by the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace think tank. So I want you guys to just write that down, type it somewhere, save it. Research Belt and Road Initiative. You will be blown away. Some of these smart city projects are currently underway in countries like Germany, Spain, and France, according to analysts by the Australian Strategic Police Institute. China currently has far more installed surveillance cameras than any other region in the world. The Americas are next in line, accounting for about 18% of all installed surveillance cameras. Those regions just mentioned will see the greatest growth of surveillance cameras over the next 2 years, driven by growth in developing countries like India, Brazil, and Indonesia. These countries are expected to surpass Japan and the UK to join China and the US as the top 5 largest markets for installed surveillance cameras. The report also indicates that if the data were to be broken down by the number of installed surveillance cameras by person, the U.S. is actually not far behind China. Do you hear that? The U.S. is actually not far behind China. In 2018, 1 camera was installed for every 4.1 people in China. There was 1 installed camera for every 4.6 people. Yeah, that's not far at all. But what it shows us, guys, is that it's almost like taxes, right? Once you start initiating some type of tax scheme, there's no turning back. You can't untax a person once you get addicted to that tax revenue, once you kind of suppress people under that. And the same thing goes with these surveillance cameras. The cat is out the bag. It really is. There's no way for us to turn back at this point. There are many benefits to having cameras, but unfortunately, the cons outweigh the pros, in my opinion, when it comes to having some level of privacy. You leverage this and combine it with AI technology, it will be something that we really should be concerned about. And even as it pertains to national security, the United States should be very concerned. As we see with this Belt and Road Initiative, they're casting their surveillance net across the globe, and they're infiltrating countries, many countries in Africa. They're going into India and even in South America. So I hope that the United States is up on this and it has some type of plan, strategic plan to combat this, because I think strategically China is making a move, a chess move here that will eventually bite us in the ass, if you ask me. But on to the main topic for today, which is interesting to say the least. There is an update since I first reported on this over the weekend, so we'll take a look at this update as well. But yesterday, Apple was caught red-handed, and now the company has admitted that the settings in millions of iPhones are misleading users about their use of location data and promised to fix it. It says Apple's new iPhone 11 11 Pro and iPhone 11 Pro Max have settings enabled to where they are checking your location without your permission. The admission issued to TechCrunch follows research published by security specialist Brian Krebs, which reveals Apple's new iPhone 11 range are seeking information about their location even when users have specifically changed the privacy phone settings to stop this from happening, something that Krebs notes violates the company's own privacy policy. So in response, Apple initially dismissed the finding, which Krebs documented in the video embedded below, as expected behavior. But today the company has changed its tune, warning users that the new iPhone 11's new ultra-wideband chip is behind the background check. So the ultra-wideband technology is an industry standard technology and is subject to international regulatory requirements that require it to be turned off in certain locations, said Apple in a statement. iOS uses location services to help determine if an iPhone is in these prohibited locations in order to disable ultra-wideband and comply with regulation. Apple states that the management of ultra-wideband compliance and its use of location data is done entirely on the device, and Apple is not collecting user data, something the initial research backs up. But what is interesting here, though, is that Apple's next course of action was that it claimed it had to follow international regulatory requirements. The company now says it will enable these background location checks to be disabled in an upcoming iOS update, which means they didn't need to have it done in the first place. This raises suspicions among those who are protective of their privacy, especially when it comes just months after Apple admitted it hired contractors to secretly listen to Siri audio snippets recorded by owners of iPhones. Although anonymized, a whistleblower revealed they heard clips which included private medical information, drug deals, and recordings of couples having sex. Apple subsequently apologized, shut down the center, and promised to give users a privacy setting which would enable them to delete their Siri recordings in a future iOS update. So they're just totally going behind your backs, people, violating all types of privacy, as if we had any privacy anyway. But I mean, this is just going to another level. So the update that was put out over the weekend as well said that 9 to 5 Mac has confirmed through carriers that iOS 13.3 will be released next week, and it is expected to bring Apple's promised fix for this problem, as well as support for FIDO2 security keys and new parental controls for limiting phone, message, and FaceTime usage based on contact and time. So just wanted to give you guys that update on what is going on. The surveillance state is getting worse and worse by the day. I don't even know what to tell you. I don't even know to say be more protective, be more diligent about. It doesn't matter. It's so deep rooted. This is unfortunate. Hopefully blockchain technology at some point will become usable enough to the masses where they can take control of their privacy in a blockchain encrypted manner. But hey, that's my 2 cents on the topic. If you found this video informative, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, and click that bell to receive more videos like this. I'm out of here, people. Holla.